Hey, welcome back to Common Mansplaining. Eddie here. Guys, it has been a crazy week for female athletes. As you see, several of them have struggled desperately to hold on to the remnants of female sports. And as many of you know, Trump recently passed an executive order forbidding trans women to compete in female sports. So he said no men can compete in female sports. And yet there seems to be some lingering effects, right? There seem to be some people that are still trying to kind of press the issue in various schools. Recently, there was a women's pool championship that was actually competed at the top level. The final two spots were actually not women. Neither of them were actually female, right? So let's take a look at, first I'm going to show you the executive order again so that you have it in the forefront of your mind.
I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
Simple enough, right?
3 years ago, Peyton McNabb was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it.
Right. Everything for Trump is something like you've never seen before. But yeah, obviously she was concussed. She had some partial brain damage and paralysis. Definitely not something that is typical for volleyball, for women's volleyball. But anyway, in this pool championship, right, here we go. Two transgender players face off in the final of a women's championship pool match Sunday, adding fuel to the fiery social debate surrounding trans athletes' participation in women's sports. Harriet Haynes and Lucy Smith, who were both assigned male at birth, fought for the title at the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series event in Wigan in the UK this weekend. Haynes went on to defeat Smith, but vocal critics on both sides of the Atlantic claimed that the real loser in the battle was women's sport. And yeah, no duh, of course it was, right? Like, this should illustrate with blinding accuracy that if you allow trans women to continue to if you allow men to continue to compete in women's sports with females, the females are just not going to be able to keep up. Even something seemingly like pool doesn't take brute strength, right? It's not like big men have to do it, right? Like, no, you'd think that women would be just as capable, but even simple little things like that, even stabilizer muscles in men that can keep your arms like steady, keep musculature steady so that you don't make any kind of mistakes with vibrations in your musculature. Even that is an advantage to men. Even that. There was another situation in middle school. There was a middle school shot put team that refused to compete against a trans woman athlete, a male athlete. And let's take a look at that real quick. So yeah, here you can see they all kind of step in the circle and they all forfeit their match, which this takes a lot of courage, believe it or not. Like these women are putting their athletic career on the line. And in reality, actually, believe it or not, I think they got banned. Let's see. Yep. One of them was able to hold on to it, but many of them got banned. So like, this is outrageous. So in a women's event, instead of the man being banned, it is the women that are getting banned from the event for forfeiting because they refuse to compete in a women's event with a man. Now, here's the last one. Recently, a fencer took a knee and because she realized that she would have to face off against a male in one of her matches. Here we go.
Well, the women's fencer seen in this video is defending her decision to take a knee against her trans opponent. Despite getting disqualified for the forfeit, Now she is spreading global awareness to the issue. That athlete is Stephanie Turner, and she joins us now. Stephanie, it's so great to have you on. So many people are looking up to you because you were so courageous. Tell me what happened in that moment.
So it really leads up. My day really starts the night before when I found out that I was going to be fencing a man. And in tournaments such as these, you don't get to know who you're going to be facing until really the last moment after you've warmed up. So I went about the tournament as usual, warming up, and then I was given my pool assignments, and I saw that Redmond was in my pool. So I had decided that I was going to take a knee, and I would go up against him as if it was a regular tournament, and at on guard ready, I would take that knee, and then I would explain my position.
And what did the referee say? What did your coach, your teammates? What happens there?
I think people were a little stunned. I was asked, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm a woman, and this is a man, and I will not fence this individual. This is a women's tournament." And because fencing tournaments are so loud, I don't think Redmond heard me explain that to the referee. So he comes up to me, and I explain the same thing to him. And Redmond responds that, there's a USFA board of directors here, and there's a policy in place that acknowledges me as a woman. If you refuse to fence, you're going to get a black card. You know that, right? And I said, I know. Wow. And so I kept my knee, and my referee was kind of stunned and walked around and tried to get information from various other officials.
Like what information is he looking for? And a better question is, why is he stunned, right? Like, why is this a surprise to anybody, right? She's a female. She is in a sport division that is supposed to be segregated by sex, right? Let me be clear about this. Not by gender, by sex, right? Nobody cares about your gender expression in sports. They care about your physical advantages or disadvantages, right? People seem to make the mistake of thinking that this is about gender, right? Like it's about men versus women. Now it's about male versus female, right? She's a female in a female sports division. Now, they may use the word woman, like women's sports division, because it's, that's just how women were. For a long time, the words women and female were exactly the same, right? For a long, long time, right? And so there's a lot of like sporting divisions, there's a lot of laws, there's a lot of things that still reference the old terminology. But everybody should be very, very clear when it comes to this, that the word that they're actually referencing is female, right? It's the biology of the person, not the gender expression or the gender identity or the self, whatever they feel on the inside. None of that matters when it comes to sports. All that matters is, are you faster? Are you stronger? Do you have greater reach? And by the way, like, you should see, I wish I had a picture of it, but this fencer is like 1.5 feet taller than everybody else, which is a huge advantage in fencing. Like, it's enormous. And guys, I don't know how else to say this, but like, while I have no problem managing the difference between sex and gender, I fundamentally, I disagree with changing those words. Like, I don't think that we should have changed words like woman and man to mean something else other than what it already meant in the past. But I acknowledge that it already has happened, right? I think that fundamentally is detrimental to our communication, right? Because we still have this older generation. It's only, like, my parents are never going to be able to use the words woman or man other than as male or female. Like, that's just ingrained in their mind. They're never going to change that, right? And the new generation maybe changes it. And so then you've got these people talking at cross purposes. They don't understand each other anymore. When one person says the word man, one person's mind goes here. Another person says the word man, and their mind goes in an opposite direction. That's just bad for mankind. But I acknowledge that it's already happened, right? Like, I acknowledge that those words have already been expanded. They mean new things now. But everybody should understand that this is about biology, right? This is about the sex of the person competing. And if you take away females' ability to only compete with other females, then you take away females' ability to win, right? I want to be clear about this, right? Like that's why you see in the pool championship, it's two men, right? Two males in the championship. In the boxing for Olympics, guess who it is? It's men, right? Who wins that? In MMA, men win, right? If you go anywhere where guys compete with girls, even in something like pool, where it's like I said, it's not like a brute strength sport. Fencing isn't a brute strength sport. Even in something like chess, men have an advantage. And I don't even know if I could tell you why men have an advantage in chess. There's something about the way their minds work, like men's minds a little bit more analytical on average, right? But guys, if you want to forfeit women's sports altogether, this is the way to do it, right? Just let male and females compete in the same sports divisions. Now, if you don't want that, if you want to protect the women's right to a space that was designated for them specifically, the only thing that you can do is segregate them. Now, I will say that I'm kind of weird when it comes to sports. I've never really cared about female sports. I never have. That's just me. Now, but I want to be clear when I say that. That doesn't mean that I think that men and women should just be thrown together without anybody knowing about it in advance. Like if you're a female and you're in an athletic division that is separated for females, and then you throw a man or two into the mix because they're trans women, that's like the worst of all possible worlds. That's like being dishonest to the females who think that they're going to be competing against other females and then find out otherwise, right? So if you wanted to throw them all together, I personally wouldn't care. But understand, when you do that, women will never win again, right? It will only be men winning, right? As long as you guys are cool with that, it is what it is. But for those of you out there that think that you can have the best of both worlds, and think that you can have, like, you can throw any gender where they want to be and yet still have females that win events, you're delusional. I'm sorry. You're just delusional. That's all I got for you today, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. Please share this with all your friends. Please catch me next time on Common Mansplaining.